Honorable, let me come to you on this revenue mobilization drive. The ECG, were you in Parliament when you were disconnected? I think it was last year. You were not there then. Very well, very well.
So it's very interesting to realize that ECG has started this revenue mobilization exercise to either collect debt from owing entities or disconnect them if they fail to pay or come up with some reasonable payment plan.
Yeah.
That is supposed to be part of the routine function of any organization because the organization has a responsibility to collect all revenue from services that they have rendered, particularly when ECG itself buys power from other agencies and has to pay them. This perennial challenge of government owings to either VRA or GRIDCO and the rest all emanates from the inability of ECG, who is the final taker who sells the power, to collect as much as it has sold and pay back to those entities. From Parliament's point of view, we've had conversation, I think last week at the committee level. We met ECG itself, we met VRA, we've met GRIDCO to look at their books. And it's very worrying to realize that some of these companies like GRIDCO don't even collect up to 40% of services that they've rendered to ECG. And so how do they function? They generate all the power, they give it to you, you go and sell and bring me back the money, and you're unable to even pay me back up to even 40% of what they sell. So it's like a circus. We go around and then we are unable to. Now the question is, why are we where we are? Why are we there? We are where we are because, again, you take it from, like Elvis started with, what is the amount that we as a people ought to pay? The right tariff that we ought to pay. So we need to arrive at a conversation where we agree that people ought to pay what they have to pay for electricity. We have the opportunity this time with this depreciation of dollar or CD appreciation to get PURC, review the tariffs to at least break-even point. And if we miss that opportunity, then we are in for trouble. So the first point is PURC should set tariffs to the levels where ECG or any other company like Ghana Water would be able to collect what they are supposed to collect from the sales that they make. So that is the first point. The second question is, when even government sets up this appropriate tariff, does the agencies have the capacity to do the collection access? We've been talking about distribution and then collection losses, which works up to system losses of about 30%. The last meeting that we had with them, NETCO said they have system losses of 31%.
Wow.
So how do you run an organization and you lose a third of the power that you are generating to system and operational losses? So it means, and then when you lose 30%, you are also unable to collect 30%. So they are also collecting just about 30% of the power that is being generated and sold to them. So it's a very difficult position. But let's take it from where ECG itself has started. ECG, when I was in Ghana Revenue Authority, they were one of the biggest debtors to GRA. In fact, on a monthly basis, they are unable to even pay what they declare as taxes to GRA. And it became perennial to the extent that ECG carried almost about 80% of the total government debt that GRA was holding in billions. In billions. So we had to go around.
Can you recall which period this was?
Oh, it's been perennial for almost for the past 3-4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so today, if you go to GRA books, I will not be surprised that ECG continues to pile up its debt. GRA also wanted to go and close down ECG. And we had a lot of government intervention. They put it under the waterfall system and nothing came out of it. So it is important for us as a country to re-engineer all of these things.
Yeah.
Ghana Water. Why is Ghana Water unable to pay its ECG? There are certain debts that are statutory. You cannot function as Ghana Water if you don't have electricity. But again, as Hamza said, it's about prioritization. Because they think they are getting it from another government organization, they will go and do all the needless procurement. Go and procure things that are for personal benefit. Go and check their goods and services list. Then you see where the priorities lie. And so it is important for ECG to take these steps to send a signal to everybody that you can't be allowed to benefit from a power that you don't pay for. And it is important again from management point of view, with all these lists that have come, that we don't go back. So one, all of these recoveries should be made. And then you put in measures to avoid the recurrence of these arrangements, so that at least you generate and recover as much as you can. And then when there are arrears, we can think of how best government through this one Ghana CD energy levy, which has now been suspended, and we don't know how government is going to fill that gap. And so the looming energy problems that we face, we don't even know how government is going to turn itself around. Now come to the private companies that are still owing. How did they happen? Is it that ECG was unaware? And if they were aware, who allowed those debts to pay? It can't even happen for 2 months that somebody should operate and not pay his electricity bills.
So you think somebody should be held accountable?
Somebody should be held accountable. Not just for the collection sake, but ECG should sanction. Why don't we have area directors and area heads for these places? What happened? So we should be able to hold people accountable for the jobs we put them in. And then not to play this public scenes. These ones are meant for big enterprises like GBC, Ghana Water, that you know decisions are taken at higher level to stop ECG from performing its mandate. But when it comes to private sector debt, that one there is no excuse. If someone owes and can't pay, he comes with a payment plan. If they fail, you take them off. And so we should be mindful from management point of view that people should be held responsible for these actions and inactions. And I think that from Parliament and government side, we should all have a roundtable conversation around how best we would solve the issue between ECG, Ghana Water. But then Ghana Water should be accountable for the electricity that they consume. That one is non-negotiable. And ECG itself, as I said, when you look through their books, even when they collect money, and we said it at committee level, statutory payments that they should make to other agencies, they don't make it. And so if they are doing this to other companies, then they should be ready to also fulfill all their obligations so that the country can run on a smooth manner. So that would be my...
Very well. Thank you very much, Honorable. This is